message has been brought to you by Raul Cannon. This message portrays the public interest in the emergency disaster management field and its importance. At the conclusion of this message, the audience will have a better understanding on this topic.
What you need to know about emergency and disaster management. Greetings, fellow Americans. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Adam Baum. In this age of global disaster and the need of emergency response, we take a look at a career that dedicates its service to preparing and aiding citizens before and after a disaster strikes. This is the field of emergency and disaster management. Today, we have a special guest who will be joining us live via satellite. He is an expert in the field, and he will answer some questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Emergency. Mr. Gency, how are you doing today? I'm doing good, Adam. Mr. Gency, what can you tell the viewers at home about your job as an emergency and disaster specialist, and what is your advice to those viewers who might want to follow in your footsteps and pursue a career in emergency response?
Good question, Adam. Well, in a nutshell, emergency management is defined as a discipline that deals in risk and risk avoidance. Quite simply, we analyze the risk of possible disasters and we implement measures in order to reduce property damage and human casualties. When a disaster is about to occur, we advise the government body on the actions that people should take. Finally, after the disaster strikes, we bring relief to the victims and also assess the situation to implement on future disasters.
Of course. And what advice do you have for those interested in a career in emergency response?
Right. Well, the first question I want to answer, which is on everyone's mind, what is the salary and what are the benefits of choosing a career in emergency management? On average, 50% of those who are employed, usually work in big companies or government entities, earn about $57,000 annually. This is all based on three factors: years of experience, education level, and location. Location being the biggest influence of earning a higher salary. You don't want to be working as an emergency specialist in an area where disasters do not occur often, let's say Nevada. Another concern for emergency management hopefuls are the benefits that come along with the job. As stated earlier, the salary can depend on the hiring agency. Usually big companies will provide benefits to full-time employees. These can include medical, dental, retirement, 401k, and perhaps paid leave. Of course, when hired by a government agency, one can expect to receive most or all of these benefits. Finally, in regards to this topic, I would like to mention about job security. It's no question most people want a long-term position. But for this career, it really depends on the employee's work ethics and also the location. I guarantee that if one was working in a high-prone state for disaster than a low-prone state, they would last longer in the high-prone state. And most of this information can be found on the web, payscale.com, or by talking to your career counselor. Sounds wonderful. After this interview is over, I may need a reevaluation of my career before I, along with others, make that decision. We need to know more about this career choice. Certainly, it doesn't seem to be easy. What are some of the concerns that people have to account for a day-to-day basis? Right. Well, all emergency specialists, managers, responders all take consideration in the most important element in our risk mitigation programs. And that element is the community. Ensuring the well-being of the people is our biggest concern. We have to make sure that the people are aware and prepared for a disaster. This can include recommending emergency kits and food supplies, ensuring the people know the proposed plan of evacuation to the best immediate protection from the disaster. You can actually go visit your city or state's website to find out more information, or you can visit the FEMA website. Other concerns on a day-to-day basis is the estimated cost to implement such preventive measures. The government can only subsidize a certain amount. This amount would cover materials such as blockades, a fallout shelter, or a bunker, or whatever else local government decides. Most of the costs for preparations are done by the people. But after the disaster strikes, that is when we are deployed to provide relief. Along with the National Guard, firefighters, police officers, ambulances, everyone works together to bring comfort to the victims. This is where we all work together. We all must know our individual roles in this unified plan of action. Obviously, clear communication is key, and a solid work relationship with each emergency responding agency. Herein lies the biggest compensation given by the federal and local governments. They provide the funds for relief. Other organizations that help contribute are FEMA, non-profit organizations like the American Red Cross and Volunteers of America. So going back to one of my previous statements about job security, there is a need for emergency specialists across America. You can actually go to contact FEMA on where they might need more emergency specialists. Okay, so you mentioned about the safety concerns to the public, the cost issues of resources, but speaking of resources, natural resources, what part, if any, does any emergency specialist have to work with? We also have to have basic knowledge about the environment. As you know, many of the disasters are caused by natural causes, hence the term natural disasters. But these disasters can also harm the flora and fauna, especially to those that are on the verge of endangerment or extinction. Now, conservation groups handle the protection of these resources, but we have to inform them if there are any preventive measures that could be taken into consideration. If these disasters were to wreak havoc on the public zoo, we should consider in creating a safe zone for these animals. If these animals were to break out of their confined habitat, we could have another disaster in our hands. Also, the natural resources such as trees and rocks can help or hinder disasters. Flooding is more prone to areas with little to no vegetation and rocks. A dry flatland will suffer more flood damage than a forest, but then a forest will succumb to a wildfire than a dry, treeless land. The FEMA website has the different policies in conservation for the environment, including beneficial information on locations and their environment that could affect future disasters. Another main concern is climate change. Climate change can cause more natural disasters, and thus can contribute to more damage and cost to the people and the government. FEMA actually has adopted a policy warning the effects of climate change and the increase in magnitude of said disasters. This policy states that FEMA will continue to work with other agencies in monitoring and understanding climate change and how to incorporate strategies to overcome the effects of climate change. You can read this information along with other pertinent information at the FEMA website. Is there anything else you can explain to those still wishing to pursue a career in emergency management? Well, Adam, there are many opportunities not just within the home nation, but also abroad. When Hurricane Haiyan touched down in the Philippines on November 8, 2013, it destroyed over 1 million homes and claimed the lives of more than 6,000 residents. The Red Cross network gathered together ample amounts of food rations, water supplies, medical care, other toiletries, and cash grants to the families displaced or affected by the hurricane. We have seen other non-profit organizations such as Giving Children Hope Foundation and other organizations, all of which have established 4 operating bases in different parts of the world, provide relief from donors and accepts volunteers for disaster preparedness and relief. They also establish programs and educate the host countries' people on how they can prepare for future disasters and what to do next time. Again, we have also discussed how FEMA and the federal government have been working with the members of the UN on a global climate control program. All of these types of duties help build relationships with other countries in hopes that humanity will fear less of disaster chaos and at the same time tear down cultural boundaries.
Thank you, Mr. Emergency, and good luck. There you have it, folks. Pursuing a career in emergency management benefits the person, their family, and their local communities, the environment, and helps build relationships to people of different cultures. Being involved in this field sure requires a lot of research and service hours, but the payoff of helping others is its own reward.
So get started now. Uncle Sam needs you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. We have reports of bombs being dropped on